The greatest anime series out there are held together by an interesting and engaging main character. Although sometimes simple is definitely good, we do love an MC with a lot of depth to him, a mysterious and dark past that has us on the edge of our seats. Welcome back to Animeology, as we take a very close look at some of the most beautifully twisted and insanely overpowered main characters with a brilliantly twisted dark past. Pay close attention and stick around, because you do not want to miss out on some of the awesome recommendations on our list. Number 10. The Fruit of Grishasia. An absolutely brilliant harem-type anime with a pretty gritty psychological drama at its core, The Fruit of Grishasia started life as a highly successful series of visual novels before seeing a successful run as a manga series, and finally, a critically acclaimed and much loved anime series that you definitely need to check out. Although billing itself as a romance story, we soon realised the true highlight of this series, where the strong plot points and the insane character arcs, following Yuji Kazumi as he transfers to the mysterious Mihama Academy, a prison-like school with only 5 female students. We soon realize that our MC is more than just your average high schooler. Yuji is actually an assassin that works for a mysterious Japanese government agency. Sick of the pointless life filled with killing, he signs up and attempts to live a relatively normal school life. The visual novels definitely give you the opportunity to explore your romance with each of these beautiful waifus, but the series itself definitely opts for a very strong and compelling storyline. Well polished and an engaging watch throughout, there's a lot to sink your teeth into with the Fruits of Grishasia series, between the games and manga series, and even a few films. Number 9. Full Metal Panic. There are far too few awesome military series out there, and Full Metal Panic is arguably one of the greatest we've ever come across. Based on a series of light novels and with a strong focus on comedy of military men trying to get accustomed to normal life, Full Metal Panic is an anime quite unlike any other. Suzuki Sangara is a member of a secretive anti-terrorist private military group that is set on protecting a seemingly normal Japanese high school girl, Kaname Chidori. Moving to her school, but having a serious lack of social understanding, there is a brilliant level of humour and that fun sense of fish out of water. Suzuki seems strange and odd, although he keeps his dark past and his elite private military organisation a secret, with Chidori not really understanding why. Suzuki definitely has a pretty messed up past, fighting in an army from the age of 8. Our MC knows literally nothing about civilian life, living and growing up in the military since he was a child. The journey from military maniac, as well as the intense and natural relationship development, makes this a highly engaging watch. You wouldn't expect a series such as Full Metal Panic to really pull at your heartstrings, but it does in the strangest and most emotional ways. Number 8. Undefeated Batmuck Chronicles. A brilliant mecha series, we learn about an old revolution that upset the entire Arcadian Empire. The former prince, Lux Arcadia, accidentally walks in on the girls' showers and sees the new princess, Laishart Atsitma, completely naked, and learns her dark secret. Dueling the princess, Lux loses and is forced to attend the female-only academy with her, an elite academy where the students are taught to become Drag Knights, the pilots of these powerful mechs. Both our MC and the leading lady have insanely dark pasts behind them. Our hero, Lux, is actually the dangerous and mysterious Black Hero, a powerful mech pilot that destroyed thousands of enemy mechs and single-handedly ended the war. It's revealed in the first episode that even Iceheart, the beautiful new princess, has the crest of the former imperial family under her belly button, something she cannot allow anyone to ever see. This ties her in deep with the political issues of the Kingdom of Arcadia. There's a lot to process across the undefeated Batman Chronicles with its rich and compelling world building. At its heart, there is a very intimate and compelling relationship that we slowly find building, one that has us glued to our screens, eager for the next episode. Number 7. Kabanari the Iron Fortress. A brilliant background, Kanabari is set against an iconic post-apocalyptic world with a heavy steampunk aesthetic. Well designed and beautifully created, the dark fantasy tale has us thoroughly hooked and engaged from the very first scene. We learn of a mysterious and strange virus that appeared during the Industrial Revolution, transforming infected people into these zombie-type monsters. Extremely aggressive beasts that are almost impossible to kill, unless their glowing golden heart is pierced or an important body part is completely removed. Most of the weapons in this awesome post-apocalyptic world are just not strong enough. The remaining humans have been forced to build these fortress-like stations and live within those, hiding from these vicious creatures, transporting between these fortresses with these heavy armored steamed locomotives. The story kicks off with these zombies hijacking one of the trains and ramming it into the city, terrorizing everyone inside. Our MC, Ikoma, steps up with his homemade weapon and starts destroying these monsters. He gets infected in the process and becomes a half-human, half-zombie type hybrid. Although fighting the urge to become a monster, it's hard to ignore the dark past of our MC as he attempts to improve the world around him and fight back against this evil zombie scourge. Number 6. ID Invade. An awesome murder mystery title with a brilliant science fiction background, ID Invade is a relatively new anime series, but one unlike the other. Starting life off as a manga, there was a huge community support, and the series quickly saw life as an absolutely brilliant anime series that you definitely need to check out. Following the in-depth and complex investigations of Nara Hashigo, a well-known detective that is locked up in prison, digging into the psychology and mentality in the minds of serial killers, we learn that our hero has a dark and twisted past. His daughter Muku was brutally murdered by a serial killer, leading his wife to commit suicide. Striking so viciously and so close to home, our hero has no choice but to hunt down and murder the person who slayed his family, with the court giving him this prison sentence. Still haunted by the deaths of his young daughter and his beautiful wife, he uses his pain to motivate himself and stop the world of other serial killers, bearing an insane grudge against these killers and filling him with an uncontrollable urge to kill. ID Invade is a series quite unlike any other, with a brilliant performance and insanely strong NC. There are few anime series that look to explore such dark and vicious themes in such an interesting fashion. Number 5. Aria the Scarlet Ammo. A brilliant addition to the seriously lacking girls with guns genre, Aria the Scarlet Ammo combines cute girls, big guns, and awesome fight scenes with a fun little romantic comedy that impressed us at every single turn. We learn of a world that's ripped apart by an insanely high crime rate, forcing the government to set up elite schools around the country and a national qualification to train students to fight crime. These students learn and specialize in a number of different fields. We follow Kinji as he follows the trail of a vicious serial killer that is hunting down these elite crime-fighting students. We learn of the dark and interesting past of both our MC and the main female love interest. Kinji himself used to be a top-ranking student, but has since dropped to the lowest class. From an elite family, he maintains an ultimate hysteria mode in which he basically becomes superpowered. As opposed to Aria Holmes, Kazinki actually a direct descendant of the world-famous Sherlock Holmes himself. She was shot in the back as a child and almost killed. The bullet is still lodged within her and stops her from growing, but the rare metal the bullet is made of gives her insane powers. A fun anime that does not often take itself too seriously, an interesting mystery tale with some great characters that had us following closely. We're reaching to find the killer and beginning to see Kinji make his move on Arya. Number 4. Angels of Death. Starting off as one of the top psychological horror anime genres that we've ever played, turning into a high-quality manga and finally seeing life as a brilliant anime series, Angels of Death is not afraid of the viciously dark and brutal, and we loved every minute of it. Starting off with the 13-year-old Rachel Gardner taken off to hospital for counselling after she's murdered her parents. She wakes up in a foreign and strange basement floor with no memories besides her name and the reason she arrived at the hospital. A number of mysterious broadcasts and messages scribbled on the wall, and we soon learn that Rachel is trapped in a game where each participant is locked in their very own floor. Anyone who trespasses has a chance to be killed. Everyone involved in this twisted game is messed up and seriously horrific. From serial killers to murderous doctors, Rachel is dragged into a desperate bid for survival. Armed with nothing but her intelligence and quick thinking, alliances are formed, but who can she really trust? Number 3. Fire Force. An absolutely fantastic and extremely stylish anime series, Fire Force has a great sense of adventure set in an interesting world that introduces elements of both science fiction and dark fantasy. We learn of the Great Cataclysm, a grim event in which the entire world was set on fire, with most nations wiped out completely and only a few areas of the planet that people could actually live on. We follow a group of survivors that took refuge in the Tokyo Empire. People start getting affected by the powerful magical residue left by the Great Cataclysm and start randomly exploding into flames. This leads to a subspecies of humans that can control this insane magical powers, the Infernals. A well thought out and interesting world soon starts building around these powerful magical beings as we follow Shinra, a pyrotechnic youth that joins up with an elite Fire Force unit that is geared towards stopping the infernal attacks. Our hero is ostracized and mocked constantly due to him causing a fire that killed both his own mother and his younger brother when he was a child. With this insane emotional burden to bear, Fire Force is an anime series that you need to check out. Number 2. Black Bullet. A brilliant action anime series set against a grim but engaging post-apocalyptic world. Black Bullet is an anime series that has us reeling from scene to scene as we soon learn more and more epic truths about the interesting world that we're shown. Set in the year 2021 in a world that's ripped apart by a contagious and vicious virus. Yeah, we know. Humans are forced to live in these huge walled-off cities. We soon learn that humans born with these crazy viruses gain these powerful superhuman abilities. Called Cursed Children, the remaining governments around the planet create these elite fighting squads that specialize in fighting against these powerful cursed children. The story of Black Bullet is set 10 years after the virus first spread, as we follow Rentaro Satomi as they conduct missions to help save Tokyo and the world around it. A brilliantly grim MC, Rentaro's parents died in an epic war previously. Adopted and raised as best he could, Rentaro also lost his right leg, right arm, and left eye, with fights against these cursed children. But his kind and caring nature leaves him as one of the few people that actually still care about these children, as he often puts himself in danger and goes to extreme lengths in order to save them. And number 1, Seraph of the End, Vampire Reign. Vampire animes can really be hit or miss, but Seraph of the End is easily one of the best in class. Set against a glum post-apocalyptic world, Seraph of the End depicts a brilliantly dark fantasy tale with some of the most well thought out characters and story beats that we've ever come across in a very long time. We learn of a cataclysmic event that almost destroyed all of humanity, leaving only children under the age of 13 completely untouched. It was during this moment of humanity's weakest that vampires began to appear from the darkness alongside a number of horrific beasts that other humans had suppressed. These vampires begin to spread across the planet and claim the Earth for themselves, forcing the remaining humans to go into hiding or donate their blood to the vampire overlords. We follow a group of children as they make their daring escape from an orphanage as Seraph of the End takes us on a whirlwind adventure. Our MC, Yuichiro, is only 16 years old. He has seen some horrible and grim days. When first attempting to escape from the orphanage, he was captured and forced to watch as his orphan family was slaughtered in front of his very eyes. This instilled him with a burning desire to destroy every single vampire for what they did to him and to his family.